and welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. How are we all doing? How is everyone doing? Gotta do a quick go round. Let's see. Let's be sure we are truly live. Um, okay, it's showing that I'm live, but I can't see the live showing on Facebook. All right, so we are live on Facebook. Let me do a sound check on Facebook. Ah, okay. The light is interesting. There's nothing I can do about this now. I've tried to get this light to be better, but well, we will manage it like that. Yes. So we are live. Okay, we are live on Instagram. All right. Good. Let me confirm that we are live on LinkedIn. I can't see the LinkedIn, but I want to believe that we are live on LinkedIn. And all right, we are live on YouTube. So it looks like we are live everywhere we should be. It's only on LinkedIn that I can't see whether we are live. So, okay. All right, we are live everywhere that we need to be live. That's awesome. All right, welcome to Growth Habits to Ngozi once again. I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. I go the journey with you. I don't just tell you this is how to do it, this is how to do it. I actually go with you. Please confirm that you can hear me wherever you are on Facebook, Instagram. Confirm that I am audible. I did a sound check, but it's still always good to confirm that you can hear me. Remember that once you join, say hi, say hello, something, so that I will know that you are here. Okay, so yeah, we had a brief break, unplanned break, but a break nonetheless. We had a break of a couple of days, so we were not able to do the live sessions for 2 weeks now. Um, yeah, please do let me know because it looks like I'm trying to look at Facebook and it's like it has frozen at a point. I'm sure you can tell that I'm back in Nigeria. You can tell that I'm back. Please let me know if the volume is okay, if you can hear me well. So, once again, welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. And as I was saying, we were away for 2 weeks. Um, so we didn't have the sessions for 2 weeks. We're going to try and cover up all the things we should have done. So today's session, we're going to take two topics together. And honestly, they just work perfectly together. It's almost as if, that's how it should have been. But they were meant to be two different topics. So we're going to be talking about understanding your emotional triggers and boundaries without guilt. That's being able to set boundaries without guilt. And they do go together so well, almost too well, almost too well. So we started off this year with in January, and we helped us build our momentum in the month of January. We learned how to move again, especially when motivation has faded. We learned how to show up even when you're feeling that you're already behind. you feel like you're doing catch up. We learned how to show up. We learned how to manage our energy wisely, not just our time, but our energy. We learned how to manage our energy wisely. And we also looked at how to build momentum through small wins. That is being able to celebrate our small wins, and that helping us build momentum. And you must agree with me that momentum alone does not guarantee any level of emotional maturity. It does not guarantee that we are moving forward in any way, but it helps. It helps, but it doesn't guarantee. You know that in life and generally, you can be consistent. You can be someone that shows up every single day, but yet you're still reactive. You're reacting. You're not being proactive, but you're consistent. You're always showing up. Um, you can build habits. You have set up systems, habits, and yet you're still feeling overwhelmed. You're still feeling overwhelmed. It is possible that, okay, Patience, I can see you on Instagram. I can see you on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, please do let me know that you are there. Um, so, in this month of February, we're talking about inner strength. We've talked about momentum in January, how to build momentum and all that. So, this month, we're talking about inner strength because, yes, momentum helps you move, but it's inner strength that will keep you steady. It's inner strength that will keep you going. It's inner strength that will help you really, especially those times that momentum, is failing you. So that's what we're going to talk about throughout the month of February. Every topic will be based off of our general theme for the month, which is inner strength. And I say this because I actually believe it's inner strength. Just about anything that you're going to do starts with awareness. If you are aware of something, it's easier to take care of it. It's easier to work on it. But when you are not aware, that's where we have a problem. So inner strength starts with awareness. It begins with awareness. It begins with knowing what it is, knowing what it's all about. So, as I said, the topic for today is understanding your emotional triggers and then boundaries, being able to set boundaries without guilt. So, understanding your emotional triggers. Why are we even talking about this when we are talking about inner strength? Because you can't have inner strength if you're constantly being triggered by one thing or the other. Maybe something someone is doing, um, something someone is saying. If you're constantly being triggered, you will not be able to have inner strength. You will not be able to have the stability that we are seeking. You'll not be able to remain steady. You'll not be able to um, not just move, but move with purpose. So it's essential that you understand your emotional triggers so that you will see how to build that inner strength we're talking about in this month of February. So, what is this emotional trigger that we're trying to understand? What are they? An emotional trigger is simply a reaction. And usually, ugh, I don't know what's happening. My light has gone off. It's been doing this since I put it on. If it stays a few minutes, it goes off. So, let me see if I can get it back on. Let's see if we can get it back on. If not, okay, good. Awesome. I'm so happy it came back on. So, as I was saying, um, it's simply a reaction, and usually this reaction feels bigger than the moment. This emotional triggers is a reaction to something that has happened, something someone has said, something someone has done, but this reaction usually feels bigger. That's what we call it, a trigger. That's what we call it, a trigger. And it's usually when maybe a comment somebody made feels like a rejection, and not, the person is rejecting either you as a person or your ideas or something. Or when someone gives you a feedback and that feedback feels like you failed, or you expect someone to say something and they don't. So that their silence feels personal. Or even when a small issue brings a big emotional response. These are emotional triggers. These are the things that set us off. Now, wonderful. This is what I'm going to be doing with this light throughout. It has gone off again. This is going to be interesting. Wow. Okay. All right. So, so now the triggers themselves is not weakness that you are triggered. It's not weakness that you're triggered. Actually, the your being triggered should serve as information to you. It should serve as information and not just a sign of weakness. It should serve as something that reveals to you that maybe you have unhealed wounds, that reveals to you that maybe you have unmet needs, that reveals to you that maybe you have some hidden belief systems in you that are not yet, will I say, worked out. Oh, for crying out loud. This is going to be an interesting, if this light keeps going off, I don't know. Bear with me as the light goes off, I put it back on. Just bear with me. Let me create space where I can be reaching it. So that if it goes off, I put it back on. All right, so, okay. All right, so these are triggers. Like I said, it's not necessarily a sign of weakness that you're triggered, that you have emotional triggers, or that you're triggered by people's words, or that you're triggered by people's actions, but you should allow it to act as information for you so that you begin to know your hidden or your unhealed wounds, your met needs, your hidden beliefs. That is where um, triggers are important. And that is how we should treat triggers. We shouldn't, once again, treat them as weaknesses. All right. Um, Even the Bible tells us that we should guard our heart, we should guard our hearts with all diligence, for out of that your heart flows the issues of life. And truly, we cannot guard something that we don't understand. You can't guard something you don't understand. So that's why it's essential to understand what are emotional triggers, what are the things that are triggering us, what are the things that's making us act the way we act, what are the things that's making us react the way that we are reacting. Now, once again, I always like to give us some research insights, some things that researchers have found out. And one thing that they have found out is that when we are triggered emotionally, the emotional brain activates first. When we are triggered, when we have one of those moments of reacting or overreacting, our emotional brain is triggered first. And what happens is that one, logical thinking drops. Two, we go into a fight, um, will I say fight or freeze moment, we go into that moment because we have been triggered. Christ. This is just funny. I can't even explain why this light keeps going off. And then the next thing is that whatever response we give at that time is impulsive. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense a lot of times. It's just impulsive. So that's why, if you notice, I'm sure it happens to you. I don't know, but I know for sure that it happens to me. Many a times after I have, okay, refused to come back on. After I have reacted, I now wonder, why did I react like that? Why did I get so upset by that word or by that action? Why did that feedback affect me so much. You know, I begin to think about that. I begin to wonder, oh Lord. Today, not today. So I begin to think, and that's because at that time the emotional brain took over and my logical thinking was not working, was not working at all. So this is what researchers have told us. So we find that research shows that self awareness, okay, the light has, okay, I thought it has given up. Research shows that self awareness is the foundation of emotional regulation. Knowing what triggers you, why it triggers you. Now, I've talked severally about understanding why we feel what we feel and not just going with the flow or trying to analyze a feeling that we don't understand. I've always been an advocate of, please, please understand why you are feeling a certain way. Understand the why of a feeling, not just that you're feeling it and then you begin to say it's either good or bad. So, research has also shown that self awareness is the foundation of emotional regulation. So, if you can understand why I am being triggered by this thing, why did this word hurt me, why did this feedback affect me this way, why did this action do or affect me in this way? Why did I react the way that I reacted? If we can understand that, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. This light is just on its own. I really don't know what's happening to it. I can't explain why it just goes off after a little while. Maybe the light has been inactive for too long, so it's having, I don't know what to call it. Okay, so our research has also shown that when we name emotions, yeah, that when we name emotions, we reduce the intensity of the emotions. So when you're able to say, okay, yes, I am angry right now at whatever it is that happened. I'm actually upset. When we're able to name that emotion, it reduces the intensity of how we feel the emotion. When you have not, and you can only name it when you have taken time to understand why it's happening. So naming it is not just to, I'm angry, so I just say I'm angry. No, when you understand why you're angry, why did this thing trigger you? Why did this thing upset you? When you understand that and then you name it, it reduces the intensity. I can testify, in fact, to this because sometimes when people upset me, and I sit back and say, okay, what about this particular situation is upsetting to me? What really is upsetting to me in this matter? By the time I have that discussion with myself and I come to the understanding of what triggered me, I'm no longer as angry as I was. I'm no longer as angry. So, yes, I've seen that naming emotions reduces their intensity. This is big work today, turning on and off this light. Okay, so, I can see Victory Meso, Dr. Tijani. Okay, I can see you on Instagram. Thank you for joining me. Facebook is just frozen, so I don't even know here. I don't even know if I don't know if anyone is there or not. This is so interesting today. Today is okay. I can see Charity Walter on Facebook. Thank you for joining me. Then also research shows. I was just trying to tell us about research insights that I discovered. Research shows that when you suppress emotions, you increase stress. And I don't even think I need to say this twice. We all can testify that is the truth. When we suppress emotions, they are stressed because just even the very act of suppressing emotion stresses you out. That is just given. It stresses me out. I don't know about any other person. So if I'm upset and I don't recognize it, I don't name it, excuse me, I don't name the emotion, I don't recognize the emotion, I don't figure out why I'm feeling it, I am stressed because, even if it's just the thoughts of how to retaliate, that is enough stress. So, yes. And that is what research has shown. And I know that we can also, from our um, everyday experiences, everyday life, we can agree that that is how it is. That is what it is. All right. So, talking about this, honestly, this light is really giving me, it's stressing me out. This light is stressing me out now because it just keeps going off and on, off and on. It just decides that it's no longer coming on. And I have to keep putting it on, switching it on. So I really don't know what's happening today. All right. So now, how do we deal with these triggers? What do we do to help us kind of understand the triggers and begin to deal with them? I have what I call the trigger framework. Sorry, trying to reach this light switch. I've moved my camera. Okay, so all right, so I have what I call, like I said, the trigger framework that will help us recognize and also help us deal with these emotional triggers. So the first thing is T. T, that's the first part of the trigger framework. Okay. And that is to trace it. That's to trace it. Where have I felt this emotion before? Under what situation, under what circumstance have I felt this particular emotion before? Trace it. Find the root of it. Find, other times that is, excuse me, has happened, other times that you have felt the same. When you are able to do that, it will help you figure out many a times, why am I feeling this? Why is this upsetting me? Why is this a problem for me? When you can trace other times that it has happened. And then when you finish tracing, when you have done with the tracing, you need to recognize the patterns, because definitely there are some patterns. If this is an emotion, or if this particular situation has triggered you more than once, a pattern exists. So discover that pattern. What situations keep activating this response that you're having? Is it the same thing over and over, or is it similar situations? Recognize the patterns. Look for the patterns and recognize them. Look for the patterns that exist and recognize the patterns. Oh, my father. I don't know whether I should. Anyway, let me just finish. Maybe tomorrow, next week, I'll know what to do with this light, because I don't understand why it's going off. It doesn't really make any sense. It's just going off on its own. Then, once you recognize the patterns in these triggers, these emotional triggers, identify beliefs. What story am I telling myself by this trigger, that this thing that triggers me, by my reaction to this, that something someone said, by my reaction to something someone did? What story am I telling myself? So identify the beliefs that you are imbibing because of your reactions to this thing, because of the way that you have responded to this particular um, activity. Then give it language. Name the emotion. Name the emotion. Now I've said that we should name it. Don't just, sometimes there, when you're experiencing, let me say, anger, let me use that. When you're experiencing anger over a situation, if you really sit with it and you trace it and you recognize the patterns, you will find that the problem is not anger. It might not be anger that is the real deal. The real deal might be a feeling of inferiority. Because you're feeling inferior at that particular time, that is why that thing the person said upset you. So that is why it's good to trace it, recognize the patterns, and identify the stories you're telling yourself so they can truly name the emotion. Because every time we act out in anger, the real emotion there is not always anger. Sometimes the real emotion is something else. Like I said, you're feeling inferior. So that triggers you and you get upset because somebody said something to you. That's why it's important to give a name, give language to what you're feeling. That's why it's important to study what you're feeling and not just take it like that. Uh, today's session, today's session is a very interesting session. I must say it is so interesting. All right, so after you have given it language, that is, you have named the emotion, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What is this situation, this this circumstance, this emotion that I'm feeling, this reaction that I'm having to whatever? What is it teaching me? Get curious about it, and not don't be critical. This is not a time to say, you know, um, I don't even, honestly, I don't know which one is the problem today. Is it this light or my camera or so many things are trying to go wrong, but I mean, I couldn't really, it's not my business. I'm going on with my session. I'm going on with my session. So, um, yes, get curious, not critical. Find out or ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me? This whole situation that I'm going through now, starting from the action the person took or whatever it is that triggered your own emotional reaction. Start from there. Then your own reaction. Then the real emotions behind your reaction. What is it teaching you? Because it's teaching you something. It's definitely teaching you something. If it is the example I gave of that the real thing behind the emotion was that you are feeling inferior. That is what gave rise to your getting angry when the person said whatever they said. Then you see that you're learning that you need to work on your self-confidence because somehow you're feeling inferior. You might be having a little inferiority complex. So is essential. That is why it's essential to go through this framework and x-ray your emotions. This is why it's essential to really x-ray your emotions and understand what they are truly telling you. Not just what you're feeling at that moment, but the real root cause of the feeling. What is it? Once you have done this, the next thing is to establish a boundary. Establish your boundary. Because sometimes sometimes triggers show that boundaries are missing, show that there are gaps in boundaries, show that there are gaps. There are some limits that should be there that are not there. Many a times, triggers reveal that. So that's why it's essential to establish boundaries. Once you have x-rayed the emotion and you've understood why you're feeling it and understood what is triggering it, what is the real cause of my feeling this thing that I'm feeling, then check, are there boundaries that you should have established that you did not? Are there limits that should be there that are not? Check that. And when you do that, the next thing is to respond. Don't react. They're two different things. Respond to the vexation of spirit, respond to whatever the person said, respond to whatever action the person took, but don't react. Respond. Just speak. Just walking away is a response, we know, but don't allow your response to be a reaction to their own action. Let your response be from your understanding of what emotion you're feeling at that time. That's why I say respond, not react. Don't react. Don't allow whatever you do next to be as a result of what the person did or what the person said. That's the other person. Let it be as a result of your understanding of your emotions, your understanding of what triggered this, your understanding of why you reacted the way you're reacting. Ugh, okay. All right. So now, how are triggers and boundaries related? How are they connected? Most times, I think I said this when I was talking about establish a boundary. Yes, I did. I said it that many a times triggers often exist because boundaries don't. Many a times, many a times. It's not always, but many a times. Triggers exist because boundaries don't. So it's essential that we um, establish boundaries because when we're always overextending, we are always people pleasing, we are always ignoring our personal limits, your emotions will soon follow. Emotions will soon speak up for you, in fact. Your emotions will soon speak up for you. So, and you see, when you're, of course, when you're always people pleasing, I mean, we can only do so much of this people pleasing, so much of this overextending ourselves, so much of this not knowing our own personal limit. We can only do so much. And very soon, your emotions will tell the real story. So that's why it's good, it's essential really to have boundaries. And these boundaries will help you in managing your emotional triggers. I think I said this during one of our sessions in February. I believe so. And I said that boundaries are not walls. They're not walls. Boundaries are just safety systems you put in place to keep both you and the people around you safe. That is what boundaries are. They are safety systems you put in place, and they keep both you and the people involved safe. Right? So that is what boundaries are. And it's essential that when you get triggered, you do one or two, I think there are five. There are five things that we should do when you're feeling triggered. If you do these five things, it will help you maintain some boundaries. It will help you, will I even say, recognize some boundaries that maybe need to be strengthened. One is to pause. Oh, see, I did a series some years back on the power of the pause. I think I might have to go and find that series and redo it. The power of the pause, PAUSE. I'm wondering if I'm pressing the right thing as the light is not coming on now. The power of the pause. So pause, breathe. When someone triggers you, pause, breathe. We have this belief. We usually have this belief that if you don't react immediately to something someone does, the person will now take it for granted. Not always. Sometimes the pause that you pause is what gives you the advantage. So pause, breathe. Two, acknowledge. Acknowledge what you're feeling at that point in time. X-ray it, understand it, understand what you're feeling at that time, acknowledge it. Then, okay, I've even talked about that understanding already. Acknowledge it, understand what you're feeling. What is really underneath this feeling that I'm having? What is really underneath it? What is really underneath it? Is it just that I'm angry? Or is it like the example I gave, I'm feeling inferior or something else? What is really underneath it? And then separate it. Understand whether, when I say separate, what I mean is understand whether this thing that I'm feeling now, is it about what just happened now? Or is it about something that happened then? When you're able to separate it, you'll find that your reaction will be different, really. Your reaction will be different, and you would even begin to understand what boundaries you need to put in place. So separate the feeling. Is it about what just happened now? Or is it about what happened then? Maybe the other times that I've had this same reaction, the other time that I've been triggered in this same way. So separate. And then engage wisely. I cannot overemphasize that we need to engage wisely. Choose a response that is more aligned with who you are becoming than who you are right now. Choose a response that is more aligned with who you are becoming. This hand is beginning to ache. I had to break. Ugh, see, the light has gone off. It's been hanging over here, pressing buttons. So I said, let me give it a break, and the light has gone off again. So choose a response that aligns with who you are becoming, not necessarily who you are right now. This is why, when we spoke in the month of January, or was it December, we said that it's essential to understand who you are becoming. It's very important. Who is that person you're trying to become? When you understand that, you begin to understand the purpose for which you're on this earth. And you can now begin to align your actions, your words, your deeds to that purpose, to that person that you're becoming. So ensure that your words, your response to people's actions, to people's deeds align with who you are becoming. All right. Um, I spoke about, let me just say this again quickly before I conclude. Boundaries, they're not selfish. They're not selfish. Boundaries, they protect your peace, they protect your energy. Okay, I can see the way even our destiny is showing today is interesting. Okay, so boundaries, they protect your peace, they protect your energy, they protect your emotional health, they protect your spiritual clarity. Boundaries, this is what they do. So work hard to have boundaries in life. Know when to say yes to people, know when to say no. Know when someone has gone too far. Understand what too far means. Establish what too far means. And any boundary that you did not communicate, if the person crosses it, you can't blame them. Let me say this. Any boundary that you have not communicated to someone, if the person crosses that boundary, you cannot blame them. Why would you even blame them? Because they were not aware that this boundary existed with you. So you must communicate boundaries. Communicate boundaries and then insist on them once you have communicated it. If somebody crosses it once and you overlook, they will cross it again. I'm not saying that if they cross it once, you now have to begin to quarrel the person and make a big deal out of it. But you need to establish that, you crossed this boundary, so that they don't cross it tomorrow. Because once you allow people to cross boundaries, they keep crossing. That is human nature. They will keep crossing it. Once they test the waters and they see that, oh, okay, this boundary is not that, it's not hard and fast. It's a very fluid boundary. They'll keep crossing it. And you keep getting triggered. And as you're getting triggered, you're being stressed. As you're being stressed, you're making poor decisions. Do we see how these things flow? You're making poor decisions. Nobody makes good decisions when they are stressed. Nobody. What's the word I want to use? It's not value, but the decisions you make, well, I say they deteriorate the more stressed you are. They actually do. So why not avoid it? Avoid Father. I need two hands now. I need two hands for this light now. So know that Every no you give to someone or to a situation or to a circumstance is a protection. You're just protecting either your peace or their peace. That's another thing I think I need to emphasize. Boundaries are for benefit of both you and the other person involved. Many times people don't realize this, and that's why people don't like boundaries. They think I'm just trying to protect myself. I told us that boundary is a protection, but it's a protection both ways. It protects you that is setting the boundaries, and it protects the person that the boundary is supposed to be for. It protects you so that you don't get your feelings hurt by something someone does. It protects them also so that they don't get their feelings hurt by your reaction to something they did. So, boundaries is a protection and it goes both ways. Now, some questions we need to ask. Okay, some questions we need to ask ourselves as we are thinking about emotional triggers, as we are thinking about boundaries. You need to ask yourself what situations, God, my finger is actually aching now. What situations trigger me the most? This is a question you need to ask yourself. What situations trigger me personally the most? Identify them. Identify those situations. And then what beliefs fuel my reaction to those triggering moments? Is it the belief that if I don't act now, they will match me? That the person will step all over me? Is it the belief that if I don't react now, the person will think less of me? Is that the belief? Think about it. What are the beliefs that fuel your reaction? Then, what boundaries would protect my peace in this particular situation? What boundaries would protect my peace? And finally, ask yourself, because I said we should respond and not react, remember, ask yourself what responding would look like in this situation instead of reacting. Because remember that responding is you, um, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Reacting is based on, let me start from reacting. Reacting is based on the person's actions. So whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing is based on what the person did. But responding is based on your understanding of the situation, your understanding of your emotions, your understanding of why this thing triggered me. Responding is based on your understanding of your emotions, of why this triggered me, of why this is an issue for me. Then you respond based on that. But reaction is your responding just completely based on this person said this to me. You've not understood why that thing upset you. But I know I've said this before. The same words said in exactly the same way to two different people would elicit two different reactions. It's not even just about, oh, this is my temperament. It's because you have not sat down and understood why this thing is triggering you. Why is it triggering to you? Why is this emotion or this action affecting you personally in this way? So, what situations trigger you? What beliefs fuel your reaction? What boundary would protect your peace or my peace or our peace in this situation? And what would responding look like? These are the things we need to reflect on this week, thinking about emotional triggers and the boundaries um, that we establish. Now, let me just say these things as I close this session today. Um, Hey, this honest light is just too funny. I can't even. It's funny to me. I can't understand why it's happening. So in closing, remember that triggers are not your enemy. The enemy is not the trigger is not the enemy. It's not. It's for you to learn from it. They're invitations for you to grow. That you're triggered by someone's actions or someone's behavior is not the problem. The way you responded is not the problem. is you're taking the time to understand why you responded the way you responded. They're invitations to grow, triggers, they're invitations for us to grow, the invitations for us to understand ourselves better, the invitations for us to, work towards that person that we want to become. So they're invitations to grow. Then boundaries, they're not they're not rejection. Let me put it that way. That you're establishing boundaries, not that you're saying no to somebody aspect. You're rejecting this person. You're rejecting their friendship, their relationship. No, it's just that you're putting in some element of respect into the relationship. I think I'm going to leave this light now. I'm already rounding up because I don't know. So, yeah. And because we're talking about inner strength, let me also say this: inner strength is built when awareness meets wisdom. So, first of all, understand. That's why I say it's so essential to understand why we feel what we feel, not just to name it. When you understand it, you can now name it, but not just naming it as, oh, I'm just angry. Most times you're not just angry, really. You're feeling something else, and it's that other thing that is causing the anger, not even the person's actions. So we need to understand our emotions, understand things that trigger us, and begin to work towards establishing boundaries that will help us protect ourselves and protect those around us, protect our relationships, and all that. And with that, I've come to the end of this very, very interesting session of Growth Habits with Ngozi. I don't think I've ever had a session like this, and I don't think I ever will. In fact, I will never will. And we talked about understanding your emotional triggers and being able to establish boundaries without guilt. I hope that I've been able to help you in one way or the other today. I hope I've been able to open your eyes to what you need to do to help you deal better with emotional triggers and to help you establish boundaries that will help you deal better with emotional triggers, because the triggers will always come. Um, there's nothing you can do that will make people stop triggering you. You can't. You can only deal with your reaction to it. You can only deal with your response to it. And remember that I said it's essential that you don't react to triggers, but that you respond to triggers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I only saw the names of the people on Instagram: Patience Wayogosu, Victory Meso, Dr. Tijani, and on Facebook I saw Charity. I saw Charity Walter. Okay, I saw Kelechi. I'm just seeing her now. Kelechi, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I hope you were able to gain something, even with our light issues. Okay, I'm seeing Major Okela. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining today. I'm glad you learned something. I'm glad you learned something. And I think we saw a real life real life response to trigger because this light was triggering. The way this light kept going off, it was triggering, but I chose to laugh. I chose to smile at it and not get upset, because I could have gotten upset and who knows what would have happened. But I chose not to. So thank you for joining me this afternoon on Growth Habits with Ngozi. See you next week, Tuesday. I will take two topics again so that we can truly cover all the topics we have in February. So thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles, especially our YouTube channel. Like I keep saying, that is where all our previous past sessions are domiciled. Facebook deletes after a while. Any other platform basically deletes the videos after a while, but YouTube, they are there. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, Growth Habits with Ngozi, and you will see all our previous sessions there, everything from day one up to this very session. So thank you once again for joining me. Remember to make today and every day count, be valuable, and ensure that you are growing every time. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you next week. Okay, I see someone else on Facebook. Boma Emmanuel, she said, okay, she was enlightened. Yes, you must see who you are becoming and ensure that your response, actions, reactions are in tandem with who you are becoming exactly. Thank you all so much for joining me. See you all next week, Tuesday, right here on Growth Habits with Ngozi.